All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back.
Happy Monday.
Happy Monday. Happy October 7th. Second weekend already.
Sure.
Time is going by fast.
Time flies.
It'll be December in no time.
Time flies when you get into it. Okay, man. This is a lot to cover this week for sure. Make sure you watch Blackout on Wednesday.
Yes.
At 10 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. This Thursday for our EYL series that we've been doing. We've been doing lives last 2 Thursdays at 9 o'clock. We did real estate 2 weeks ago, and we did artificial intelligence last week with X.
Phenomenal.
They said that is our most important episode today.
It's up there. One of the most highly regarded videos that we've done. Definitely deserves a lot more views. So
for sure.
Man, I mean, you can't complain about being left out of something if you're given the information and you don't take advantage of it.
Yeah.
All you got to do is watch it. It's free.
Yeah, watch it. Take notes. Shout out to everybody that did watch it. I saw a bunch of messages, people DMing saying, like, I watched it one time just to hear it. Second time, I wanted to listen to take notes. Third time, I wanted to digest the information fully. So 3 watches is a minimum. Anybody that did watch it, shout out to you. Anybody that didn't, and you're kind of on the fence about what AI is, I don't know what else to tell you. Like, literally, hand delivered to you to a T about how you should be using it to benefit you, not only on a personal level, but definitely all our entrepreneurs on a business level. I mean,
it's 500 words. I'm like, that's the best prompting class I've ever seen in life.
And shout out to you, man. Like, they think it's just like fun and games, but like, nah, like you were in the chat being active. You were watching it.
Fresh off the plane.
That's what I thought. I mean, I thought that was missing it. Yeah. It was one of them ones. Shout to X.
So make sure you watch that replay. But then so keep it in theme with our series that we've been doing. This Thursday, we're going to cover how to save money on your taxes. It's almost that time. So we have Miss Business, friend of the show, coming on, and we're gonna be going over taxes. We're gonna be going over business deductions, child deductions, personal expenses, how to put your car in your business name, all of that stuff. We're gonna be talking about little known tax keys and charitable deductions. Vitally important. Another thing that we don't really learn in school. You don't learn about taxes in school, especially if you're an entrepreneur or if you want to become an entrepreneur. Vitally important to understand how the tax code works. You can save yourself a lot of money by proper tax planning. So this Thursday, part 3 of the series is how to save money on taxes, 9 o'clock Thursday. So make sure you check that out.
That's one of the biggest lessons in this space. Everybody wants to make the money. The smart people want to figure out how to make sure they keep the money.
That's a fact.
and the people who know the tax planning strategies are the ones that make sure that the money stays with you. So definitely one that I would I mean, all of them you tune into, right? But everybody, you're making money, you're paying taxes. That's one thing that you're going to be doing. So you should definitely be taking notes again.
And I got to give a big shout out to my guy, Star. I was with him yesterday. And then I went uptown. I was in Harlem. Shout out to my guy, Chris Will. We was in a juice bar. It was a very authentic Harlem night. It was in a juice bar. Murder Mook came in.
Where?
How's
he doing?
He's talking about his battle. He got a battle with Arsenal coming up in Detroit.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So he was like, yo, that boy's in for some trouble with that.
I'm still at it, huh?
Very vintage Harlem night battle rap.
Tough, though.
You think Arsenal is going to beat Murder Mook?
I did not say that. We're not doing that.
No.
Rock the Mook. I rock with you.
Murder Mook's elite. But yeah, shout out to my Harlem family, man.
I think he lost his last battle. I think
Murder Mook.
Yeah, maybe his last 2. But
he got to be the greatest of all time when it comes to battle rap.
After what he did to Lux,
and Lux
is probably the greatest, right?
But he took him down.
That shocked me.
He took him down.
He did beat him, but
like, wait, what?
I think they just had been battling for so long at that point. That's the greatest performance ever.
One of the ones.
The one.
No, he has the greatest performance.
That's the one. You're going to get this work.
You're going to get this work.
Get this work.
The casket and the suit. Boy.
Oh,
shout out to the whole battle.
That elevated it to a different level.
Shout out to the whole battle rap culture, man. All right. Yeah. Okay. Ian, any announcements?
Well, I want to say for the series you guys are doing, it's really important for you guys to take notes and use all the information in combination, because then you have exponential growth. If you guys missed out on what X did on AI, y'all are crazy. That's all I'm gonna say. If you want to get rich from the market and want to know what to invest in, go to eninvest.com and join our stock club. We had an amazing call last night for 2 hours. Where to get in, where to get out. Prices will be out this Wednesday at 9 p.m. Central. If I've made you money, please put yes in chat. S&P is up for the year. Dow's up for the year. NVIDIA, of course. Lilly. What else y'all want, man? I'm giving y'all gains forever. What else do y'all want? She wouldn't have told y'all what Milken Institute cost. It was $100,000 for 2 days.
Don't discount it. Not 100. 50,000 per day for 3 days.
For 3 days.
50,000.
Come on, man. Classic. Classics. Y'all could have wrapped the live up 30 minutes early.
That's a fact. That's a fact.
Yeah. Shout out to the stock club call, man. We getting the schedules together.
Yeah, we're gonna coordinate some days
together.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, I can't wait.
Let's do it.
Disclaimer.
Yeah, before we do that, man, we got a big birthday in the EYL world. Shout out to Mike. This week is his birthday, Friday's birthday. I want to send a happy birthday shout out to my brother. Blessings on the growth of the family and growth as a man. So happy birthday, my brother. And y'all know how this works, man. Do your own research. Our content is intended to be used and must be used for informational purposes only. It's very important to do your own analysis before making any investment based on your own personal circumstances. You should take independent financial advice from a professional in connection with, or independently research and verify any information that you find on our show and wish to rely upon, whether for the purpose of an investment decision or otherwise. Continue to do the research, double check the research, share the research when it's good, give credit to the people you found it from, spread love, show love, build community, man. I love what everybody's doing. Let's keep going.
All right. Yes. So let's start with Instagram. Mm-hmm. Yeah, we have to honor the anniversary. A couple of days ago was the anniversary of the launch of Instagram, which started in 2010.
Yep.
And was acquired, I think, a few years later in 2012. I think it was acquired for $1 billion by Mark Zuckerberg's Facebook at the time, which later transformed into Meta. Early acquisition, and a lot of people were, not really sure about the valuation, $1 billion valuation, something that didn't have any revenue at the time. Now I think it's worth $70 billion, something like that. Maybe more. Who knows?
Nope.
Okay, so talking about Meta stock, we'll talk about how Instagram has impacted that. But your thoughts on that situation?
I don't think he gets enough credit at the time. I remember shout to Mikhail, who was on the Instagram team. I think he was like employee number 4, something like that, when he told me about the acquisition. I don't think Zuckerberg gets enough credit for making this move at a time when the brand was failing. And I wish Apple would have done something very similar over the last 5 or 6 years to acquire a company that would give them new life. At a time when the app Facebook was not having as much traction. And then, of course, they had the Cambridge Analytica issue later down the line. They've done a great job at acquiring companies that are going to boost not only the revenue, but just boost like time spent on their platform. So it's a great lesson in acquiring what could be your competitors and having the long-term vision to see that this platform could replace us. So let's acquire it and put it into our ecosystem. I think they're easily doing, I think we are $30 to $50 billion a year in revenue. If they were publicly traded, it would knock a lot of people out of contention as well. So it's one of those additions that in the beginning, when everybody was saying it was a mistake to pay that value for it, the multiple he's got on it is absolutely amazing. And of course, it's driven the stock up as a result. So this is definitely one of the best acquisitions of all time. Them and Google acquiring YouTube are neck and neck for like the last 15 years for the best acquisitions of all time in tech.
I'm glad you threw that layup, because I'm going to give you the numbers here, my brother. I'm going to say that it is indeed the greatest acquisition of all time. Like you said, Shadi said, $70 billion valuation in 2024. In 2018, Bloomberg had its Instagram's valuation at over 100 billion. Right, so the purchase was 1 billion. The value, even if it falls in the middle range of that, 70 to 80 billion. You're talking about
80x return is amazing.
80x. I used to say Google. I did. I said when they purchased YouTube for 1.6 in 2006, and obviously you can see what Google has done and its importance, especially the way we view content and content is created in this creator economy. It means a lot. Google's valuation on its own this year is valued at $32 billion. So 32x. Just the math alone, it's doubled it.
You can't argue.
Valuation. As far as acquisitions, it has to be just on the value proposition alone, if not the greatest one of superseding the YouTube purchase by Google. But you got to look at WhatsApp as well. So like in 2010, you buy Facebook for $1 billion, but in 2014 you purchase WhatsApp for $19 billion. So you 19x is that. Now, has WhatsApp brought back the same amount of revenue? Not as much, but again,
it's still a great return.
Still a great return, but you're looking at the field. You're saying this actually could hurt our brand. That could be competition for our brand. Let's acquire both. Let's put it under the same umbrella. Now you have WhatsApp, which is used globally. In fact, when we talk to our people in Ghana, they always say like, "Yeah, y'all don't check y'all WhatsApp." Yeah. That's an American thing. Like everybody else checks their WhatsApp as the way of communication. You take into what Facebook has done, which is now Meta with over 3 billion, right? I think nearly half the people on the planet have a Facebook account. Tie into Instagram with the hundreds of millions, if not billions of users on there. I mean, you have the world's economy at your hand, at your fingertips to put ads on and to collect data from. An amazing acquisition, if not the greatest, definitely one or two for me.
Yeah, for sure. I think it's number 2. I think YouTube is bigger than Instagram, but it's still up there for sure. And I personally want to thank Kevin Stronum and Mike Keeger and also Mark Zuckerberg, because Instagram changed my life.
Yeah.
Changed our lives for sure. And the story with Instagram was in 2012. That's when I first heard about it. Shout out to Val, good friend of mine. She kind of introduced me to the app. And at that time, it was just pictures. And you had to have an iPhone. And very shortly, I knew that Instagram was going to change the world. And we actually had a fashion blog before we actually started Earn Your Leisure. Shout out to Eddie. I never forget, I had the idea for this fashion blog. I spoke to Eddie, another friend of ours. Shout out to Eddie, wherever he's at in the world right now. And then we went to Troy.
So right here.
We explained it to Troy. Then Mike. And that didn't really take off, but the idea was a good idea. It just wasn't executed well. And then a few years later, shout out to Mike. That's when we kind of developed a plan for my own personal financial planning business. And we used to do photo shoots at his apartment complex. We did photo shoots, public access show. Everybody knows me and Troy was teaching in the class. There was updates as far as we had an app. I remember I had an app that because the goal was just to get 10,000 followers. So it was an app at that time. It was like all kinds of hacks and tricks. Like you follow people and then you unfollow them. And the theory is like, if you follow somebody, they're going to follow you back. And then it was just like anything, hashtags, like all kinds of stuff to kind of make the algorithm. It was like, just get to 10,000 followers. Cause like once you get to 10,000 followers, then you'll be able to have enough momentum to just kind of keep moving from there. So long story short, that thesis proved to be correct. But it wouldn't have been possible without the platform of Instagram. So just Instagram, I mean, of course, it has a lot of negative flaws to it. But I mean, we do have to put things in perspective. The way it democratized the ability to reach millions of people. And there was other platforms before it, Facebook and MySpace, but Instagram just kind of hit culture in a different way. And the way it was just able to democratize and be able to reach millions of people, billions of people all over the world for free. For messages that range from anything from fitness to cooking to financial literacy. It's a revolutionary tool and one of the greatest inventions, I think, of all time when it comes to social media in general, but Instagram specifically, because like I said, I mean, just the speed that it took that it took paced, and to be able to build a media platform on the back of another tech platform, is kind of amazing if you think about it. In a short period of time, now we're able to meet world leaders. We sat down with Kamala Harris, and we're able to go to different countries and meet billionaires and all of that. And that's all done through building infrastructure on a free platform that's on your cell phone. So that's our blueprint, and it wouldn't have been possible without Instagram. That's why I'm always going to be a supporter of Meta.
Thankful.
So it's like, that's why when Meta was having its hard times a few years ago, I never jumped ship on Meta, because I understand the genius of Meta, and I understand the revolutionary, ideas that come from being able to connect people. People's lives have really been changed by this platform, and our lives has been changed by this platform. So just wanted to put that out there, because it is important to show gratitude. That's a major key in life. And I am specifically grateful for the platform, because it allowed us to do everything that we would not have been able to do. Like, we would not have been able to spread financial literacy. We would not have been able to have different communications and theories and talk and be thought leaders. We would not have been able to do that if it wasn't for our cell phone, and if it wasn't for the app that was Instagram. So kudos to Instagram, much success. And it's been an amazing journey thus far, for sure.
Yeah, I'm interested. I'm just interested why number 2 over Google.
Well, I just think that YouTube is bigger than Instagram, and I feel like YouTube has broke even more boundaries as far as like being able to, when you talk about long form content, now you're able to become even just the idea of long form content is just revolutionary. Right before that, you had to be a movie director. Like, people take it for granted to be able to, even Market Monday is 2 hours it was radio, like, but the visual aspect of that, there was no visual long form aspect of anything. You had to put out a documentary, or you had to be a TV. Now it's commonplace that everything is like an hour, 2 hours, 3 hours, 19 keys, put 4-hour videos up. So the way they have more users than Instagram, but the way that they have been able to really change the landscape as far as content for content creators, being able to monetize, we still have never made a penny on Instagram. After all the praises that I sung,
that's crazy.
We still have never made $1 from Meta yet.
How is that possible?
Good question. Good question. So yeah, we still got some issues. But yeah, I just feel like YouTube is just, it just, that really, really just took everything and just put it on his head. And like I said, now NFL is on YouTube now. Like, I mean? Like, there's so many different things that has YouTube kind of democratized.
It took over TV.
Fact.
Yeah.
My son, like, they grew up on you. He didn't grow up on
He
grew up on YouTube.
Yeah. I'm not mad at that argument.
But like I said, 1 or 2, either way, it's still, Instagram is still a very important part. But man, that YouTube just came and just.
Yeah, I did. I mean, from 2006 on, like you said, if you're born post 2006, this has been your TV. This is the way you consume content. This is the way you watch shows. Like, my son was telling me yesterday, he watched a video of somebody talking crazy about me. I was like, well, you got to understand how humbling that is, that somebody woke up, thought about daddy, took time to make a video about daddy. No matter what they said, they were thinking about me, and it wasn't the other way around. So shout out, let's pray for them, and hopefully they do well in life. Shout out to those people. But you're right.
It's not be different to get 415 views and get $22, and then
we pray for them. It's the way that you consume it, and it goes back to that user base. That's not slowing down. So like, when you have a young child, what are you going to put on, right? If you're not watching Disney Channel, most time they're watching YouTube, and they're figuring out some baby show or something that can be educational.
For the ABC channel,
It works. I'm just looking from the amount of revenue that is, or the valuation standpoint, and the fact that the AI integration I was looking at, and we'll talk about AI, I'm sure, the AI integration that's happening on Meta, the way that they're going, and they don't have long form content, but the way AI is going to play a role in the development of Instagram and Meta overall, and how YouTube, I mean, at some point, I'm sure they'll be able to use AI to create videos and create content on the site itself. Not there yet, but it'd be interesting how that plays out.
Speaking of not resting on your laurels, Adam 22, with all this AI coming out, since you losing all your fucking castmates, you should figure out how to go listen to what X said so you can figure out how to prompt some more videos. You're my favorite white boy, right? But you need to use that AI to figure out.
I like what you did there. 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 The comment creeper.
Come on, man. Come on. Favorite blanco hombre. So use Google LM to make you some more podcasts. I ain't seen my boy 55. He ain't been up there in a minute either. Sharp leaving. Adam, I tried to tell y'all.
Would you go on No Jumper?
Yeah, of course. It's my favorite white boy. What you mean?
Shout out to No Jumper. Shout out to No Jumper. Okay, so from a stock standpoint, Meta, we've seen, climb, and it took a major dip, but it's back almost all-time highs. Its stock has been on a rally this year. I think it's up 80% just for the year. And lifetime, I mean, crazy. It's one of the highest performing stocks over the last 10 years. Is it at a point now where it's time to sell, or is it still going?
I wouldn't think so. And I'm gonna tell you a couple reasons why. When he talks spicy, I'm going to he brought Priscilla a Panamera minivan.
Joe. No, not Pan, the Cayenne.
Oh, the Cayenne minivan. When you get to customizing shit for your wife, listen, his creative bag in a different. Listen, he went and got a shape. When he got a jiu-jitsu, and he talked spicy to Tim Cook, and Tim Cook ain't said a word back yet. They are beating Apple in the hardware space with the glasses. Those glasses look fire. Then Instagram isn't doing incredibly well. The ad platform is getting better. And I think the dip that they had when they changed the name from Facebook to Meta, and he went through all the issues going on the Hill, every core issue that I was bringing up they were facing, they fixed and multiplied by at least 2. Like, he is on a great trajectory. I wouldn't sell. I mean, I can definitely, if they stay on this run, I can see them getting a 750 maybe in a year and a half. And if these glasses work as half as well as they think at a cheaper price point than the Apple Vision Pro, now is not the time to sell.
Yeah, I'm not selling. I'm almost putting this in the mandatory hold category with my.
It's getting in there for me. Yep.
I think it might be there for me. I'm just be honest. It's definitely in the portfolio. It's one of the 500 shares that's in the portfolio for sure. And I don't see any slowdown in it. When we talk about AI, like I said, in the innovation that's happening inside of these apps, with the amount of users that he has at his disposal and the innovation that they're creating, it's tough to say that you shouldn't have this as part of your portfolio. And it's crazy that you brought up the Porsche thing, because it goes back to what we said last week when he's become the likable CEO.
Yeah, right? He's becoming way more likable and trustworthy.
Yeah, he's the likable CEO. He's doing things for his wife. He's having fun. Like, he's at UFC fights. He's doing all the things. Whereas 5 years ago, you didn't really see a personality with him. You saw some innovation. I saw the summit that he had where he's talking about what's to come, and when they were using the language models inside of the app, it's definitely. Ian, it might be number 3 for me. I'm gonna be honest. I might have to put it in front of Apple present day. Today.
I'm not mad. Listen, Tim Cook, whatever Illuminati upgrade he got with the little brain thing Elon got, you need to go get. He's smoking your fucking boots in likability. And the crazier part, if they were not in quote unquote media and they were a traditional tech company, they would have already surpassed Apple.
Yeah, not evaluation yet, but my list will, is going to go NVIDIA, Microsoft, Meta. That's my 3.
Talk to everybody at HQ.
I'm standing on that.
You're standing in business.
For now.
He did a hell of a turnaround. For everyone who's like, oh, you weren't saying it 2 years ago, the company was in a different direction. He wasn't leading as well. Also firing a bunch of people. Shot to everybody who got fired. Shot to my guy who's not there anymore. Hold your head. For how long you got to hold your head. But Zuckerberg took it in a dramatically different direction. And him and Dara don't get enough credit for turning them companies around when it was scorched earth. I remember them days when people were worried about layoffs and they locked the building down and the morale was low. They did a great job of turning it around. So they're doing an incredible job at a time when America needs more businesses that are thriving and performing at a high level.
Yeah. Did you see the filter? It's not even a filter where that now you can use AI to generate your own background, kind of like what Midjourney would do for you when you typed it, but now you can do it inside of Instagram where I can take it. Yeah, it's like this is
maybe that wasn't even me. That was Midjourney AI meta that they put in.
You thought I was in Chicago? Nah. I was in Miami.
Was not there.
That wasn't me.
See, Adam, now you can change that funky ass background you've been using for 22 years.
We pray for everybody.
There you have it. All right. Well, we'll monitor the situation. Shout out to Meta. Shout out to Instagram. And remember, you only have to be right about one thing.
That's a great point.
You only have to be right about one thing. You don't have to be right about everything. Mm-hmm. If you're right about 3 things, then you're out of this world.
Your home run. Yeah.
Only thing you have to do is be right about one thing.
Yeah, one great idea. Oh,
and it could change everything. Mm-hmm. That's a fact. That is a fact. And
Meta's profit margin is 34%. What?
That's what I'm saying, man. The numbers are there.
Tim Cook, fight back, bro.
You saw they scaled down production of the 16 already.
That trash, and now y'all not gonna put out a yearly phone.
Yeah, well, it makes more sense now, right? Like people aren't buying the new one. Why are we putting out new ones every year?
I told you they should have went in and acquired DJI a couple years ago. Still, they tech embedded in. You gonna have to figure something out. 2034 be here faster than you know it.
Yeah, you lose profit, but you save on the expenses to make them.
Mistake. You can't save your way to wealth.
There you go.
Yeah, you have it.
So they got the treasure, but they do have a treasure chest. They do have that.
Spend it. Y'all won't put Steve Jobs' up name nowhere in fucking headquarters. Spend the money on R&D. These are my thoughts, not Troy Rashad, me solely. So when I don't get the invite, I'm not that mad. Make something better. Nobody wants that Vision Pro. Y'all can't even get the licensing deal off to the NBA. What are y'all doing? Y'all turn into the new BlackBerry.
Yeah.
If we halt production on the show from weekly to monthly, is that a good sign or a bad one? If investors has to go from once a year to once every 3 years, that's not good. How you halted yearly production? With what? Man, give me another year. I'm gonna start. We need a new CEO.
Going that far.
We operated the way to the top. It's only so much engineering financially you can do. You got to make a product that people want. Yes or no?
So how many years can he not have a good year? Right? Because we're talking previously, right? We said that one of the greatest CEOs of all time, we actually put him up there with Jobs in terms of what he's done for the company.
Comparable.
This hasn't been a great year, but not a bad year, right? Like this stock hasn't fallen. How many years are you giving them to say, all right, it hasn't performed, or we can see that the trajectory is not going on an uptrend before we need to change leadership?
I think we all can agree. Great players don't get a chance to not be great. We've seen it with Bron, seen it with Jordan. We see it with I don't have an issue with how he's running the company. I have an issue with him not trying. I'd rather he lose and put out a bad phone or something that looks like a Samsung knockoff than continue to make the same phone again. And once again, I'm not seeing Apple fanboys talk about the iPhone anymore. That's what scared me.
Yeah. Well,
like when the 9 to 5 Mac rumors page and all those Reddit pages, they don't talk about the phones, and there isn't even any more leaks about what the new phone can look like. That's scary.
Yeah, I mean, it's still relevant as far as everybody. A lot of people still have iPhones, so it's not as exciting as it was before. But I think it'll be interesting to see. But the last thing I wanted to say before we leave is that is for you guys out there, you're either a hustler or a customer. So there's only 2 types of people in this world: hustlers and customers. 95% of the population are customers, and you have 5% of the population as hustlers. So if you're a hustler, it's not too late to use social media to help build your brand. And it's still, I think, the most effective way to grow. So if you are not using social media, any social media, TikTok, Meta platforms, Twitter, whatever it is, if you're not using it, you're doing yourself a tremendous disservice, because it's not the same that it was 10 years ago. Of course, more difficult because there's more people, but there's also more people on as well. So it still reigns supreme as the best way to market your businesses. So don't just say, "Oh, I missed the wave. It's over." It's not over yet. And like I said, I mean, I think that if you're not using it to market your business and to grow and to get new customers and clients, then I think you're doing yourself a tremendous disservice.
Yeah, and that's that life cycle of that 7-year cycle that we've spoken about plenty of times, where it went from Facebook, MySpace to Facebook, right? It went from the web now to the app, right? Instagram. It's kind of extended the 7-year cycle, right? Yeah, it's still here. Yeah. What will the next iteration look like in terms of social media? But to the Apple point before we move on, there's an opportunity here that we might not be looking at, and that's the fact that there might be a delayed response to what's happening on that phone. Like, the most important feature was that Apple Intelligence. That hasn't even really been released yet, right? Like, it's supposed to come at the end of this month. So we'll see once that's introduced to the audience if there's a different reaction when it comes to that phone. So we'll see.
As much as I loved when everybody did it in the hood, just because you put like all the Bentley accessories in the Chevy Caprice back in the day, don't make it an amazing car. You gotta re-rock this at some point and make it triangle, make it an Illuminati phone. Figure out something. And the crazy part, there's been probably 30 designers in the last 2 or 3 years that have submitted designs that have all been rejected. Try one. Leak it to Markel or whoever. Let him send it out.
Do you think? You watch social media more than telling anybody I've ever watched. Do you think the life cycle of Instagram is at the tail end and there's a new innovation coming?
It's more relevant now than it's ever been.
Okay. It's never been, bro.
Look at how toxic. I mean, from a negative standpoint, we get our news from Instagram. We log on. We get our entertainment from Instagram. They following the Diddy updates on live on Instagram. They following the YSL trial live on Instagram. It's become 24-hour news cycle, a 24-hour entertainment cycle, a 24-hour. It's bigger now than I think it's ever been. Sports. That's where I get I don't even watch sports. I just go on Instagram and I just get the updates on what happened from all of the Bleacher Report, Sports Center, all of those different sports pages that I follow. Recently, I've been starting to follow a lot of cooking pages, and these guys, they cook snakes and lizards and do all this weird stuff.
You don't want the Python donut taco burger?
But that's crazy. The donut Python burger was wild. So yeah, I think Instagram is
bigger than ever.
I don't think it has no signs of slowing down. Driven by Black culture for sure. At least in my algorithm. I don't know about the other algorithms, but my algorithm is driven by Black culture, toxic nonsense. And as long as that's
the category.
That's a recipe for success.
That's what it's feeding you.
Yeah, that's what's feeding everybody.
I mean,
I don't know. I don't know what it's feeding. Like, that's what I'm saying. We don't really
escape Diddy. You're not gonna be
no. That's world. That's like world.
That's in your algorithm. I don't know. Algorithm. No algorithm does not have Diddy in it. And if you
it's impossible.
That one.
I told you I was watching Telemundo. He leads story B Diddy. I said, damn, Puff on Telemundo first? What?
Yo.
That's crazy. Most people are checking Instagram before they wake up and kiss their girlfriend.
Oh, that's the first thing on the wake up. And the last thing before you go to sleep.
Absolutely. Hey, fellas, if you leave the Instagram page open while you sleep, the iPhone not gonna lock for you.
Think about it. You meet 9 times out of 10. You
live it off experience.
If you're gonna meet people's meeting their girlfriends 9 times out of 10 on Instagram. 9 times out of 10. They're not meeting them in the mall. They meeting them on Instagram. They're getting their news from Instagram. They're getting their entertainment from Instagram. They're getting their knowledge from Instagram. Like, they're getting, like, 19 Keys has become
what a travel
for sure. Food, restaurants, especially on TikTok. TikTok's heavy on the restaurant thing. Like, people, like my son, he wanted to go to a restaurant. I'm like, where'd you find that? He's like, I found it on TikTok. It has become a directory of life. It's a directory of life. Anything that you want,
put that up.
a directory of life.
For real.
So
That's the new search engine.
yeah, bigger than that. It's literally like
whatever. If I want to see it visually, I can search it. I can find it. I can go there.
I mean, think about it from this perspective. Like, that platform has gotten so big that the regulators made them put a feature in to limit the time you can be on it. Yeah. Talk about market share. Like, Evan Spiegel, I don't know what you're doing right now. Kudos to you, but Snap doesn't have that issue at all.
Yeah.
Evan, if I see you at Yacht Week or whatever, I love you. But just give me a comparison on the business, not you as a person.
We'll see. All right. So switching gears, Charles Schwab U.S. Dividend Equity Fund ETF, SCHD. Right? Is this something that is a good investment option in the current market?
A lot of people ask this question. I'm pro BlackRock and pro Vanguard for sure. I know SCHD is cheaper. Kudos to Charles Schwab for acquiring TD. Even though it may be cheaper, there's benefits to having a Vanguard and BlackRock ETF, some of which I won't talk about publicly, but there's pricing mechanisms in play that Vanguard and BlackRock have that other ETF makers don't have. That's why I lean so hard on Vanguard, and they were the maker of the ETF and index industry. So I try not to deal with companies that are laggards in the space. I like the ones that innovated there. But if you're talking just purely price, yes, it's a good investment. If Vanguard is too pricey for you, but I'm always going to lean Vanguard first. But if SCHD dropped to 71 or 68, I would definitely be interested in getting some shares there if you're just looking at price alone. But if you're factoring in the other macro factors, or if you're looking at a SWOT analysis and seeing the strengths, no one has a strength over Vanguard or BlackRock for the long term. So, but I thought it was a great question.
There you have it. Okay. So let's talk about this: balancing business and investing for entrepreneurs who have started investing in stocks. Which should they prioritize more, growing their business or expanding their investment portfolio? And I have some interesting thoughts on this, but Ian, what should
lead the way?
Well, it's one of these things. I watched High Level Conversations yesterday. Shout out to Keys, and he had Pimp and Ken on.
Shout out to Ken and Goldie.
No, it was actually a great episode.
It was a great conversation.
Yeah, for sure. I didn't even know that Pimp and Ken. I didn't know like he changed everything. I wasn't sure. I wasn't familiar with that. But long story short,
yeah,
great conversation. Check it out. So they had a discussion on what was more important, principles or habits. And Goldie was arguing that habits was more important. 19 Keys and Pimp and Ken was arguing. I don't even think his name is Pimp and Ken anymore. It's Ken. I don't know what he calls himself.
Yeah,
Ken. They were arguing that principles was more important. And I was listening to it. I was actually, because I was driving and I'm listening to it, and they both made good arguments. But I think that they kind of go hand in hand. The principles and the habits go hand in hand, right? And when I was thinking about that, this question kind of it reminds me of that, where you need money to invest. So your source of income always has to be the number one underlying thing, right? But your financial habits goes hand in hand with your business discipline. So it's like if you're making money and you're spending money just as fast as you make it, whether it's in a business or whether it's in professional, like your goal in business should be to make money to invest. So they kind of go hand in hand in a sense, right? Because it's like your motivation it's a two-part process. The motivation is to create a business, to help people, to be innovative, to make the money. And then the second part of that is to actually invest the money. I think when people look at it differently, that's when it causes problems. When they look at it like, okay, I just want to invest, that's going to be an issue, because now you don't have any passion in your business, and your business is not going to be successful because only thing you want to do is just become a day trader. And then if you look at it like, I just want to make money, I don't care about investing, well, you lack discipline, and you're going to blow money just as fast as you get it. And that's not a recipe for building wealth. So I think when you're a business owner, even before you start a business, it's important to have that mindset of this is a 1A, 1B conversation. You're going to get the money and then you're going to invest the money. It's like transferring it from your left hand to your right hand in a simultaneous manner almost. And I think that that's very important. Setting up retirement plans, having a monthly amount that you're putting into the stock market, saving money for your kids, being disciplined, like doing all those things as a business owner. If you don't have that, then it's going to negatively impact your business because you're not going to be disciplined enough to even carry out those routines. And I think that is going to not ultimately be beneficial for you as an investor because you're going to be too sporadic with the money that you're actually investing. You're going to put some money in 1 month, then you're going to take 6 months off, then you're going to put money in. So it's a 1A, 1B conversation. I think one goes with the other the same way that principles goes with habits.
Okay, I'm with that.
Yeah, I think I
have no pushback for it.
There's no. I don't think there's any pushback. I literally think that's been the blueprint for my life, really. Right? Like it's very well documented. Like was 9 to 3 in education, working every day, creating a business. As soon as we make money in business, that was never the goal. But as soon as we made money in business, it was like, all right, how do I invest this? How do I invest more? So the more you make, the more I'm creating how much I'm going to allocate to invest. And that is the pattern. Like that obviously required discipline, but it was already in my mind before I had it. Like that's what I'm going to do with it because I understand after working for 10 to 15 years, and like even during that, look, I'm not making enough to have substantial gains in the investment world that I want. So I got to figure out how to make more money so I can invest more, or I'm going to be stuck doing this. Granted, obviously this changed everything and the plan was already in place. So now it's just about executing it and making sure that you're doing it at a level that's sustainable. So make money here, money here, money here, and investment money. That's been the plan. So I'm 100%. That is what you just gave is the blueprint. If you're an entrepreneur, go rewind that. That is the blueprint that you should be following.
Yep. For my entrepreneurs who are in love with their business though, and you may not be in the right business, it's even more important that you put the money into the market. Because a lot of times you'll fall in love with the idea of, I want to be the new Dat Piff. Well, if the feds came and said that you can't make mixtapes, it's the wrong business to be in. I've always said, put the money into businesses that are run by entrepreneurs that are better than you. But you're right. You need a balance of both. You need to have passion in your business and what you do, but you also need to have a vehicle that provides you gains without you having to do anything. Like my investment into Red Panda blows out any long-term performance gains that I could get out of the market, but I still take a big chunk for Red Panda and put it into the market every month. So that capital is working for me and I don't have to expend physical energy to get a return on capital for that. So he's right. You have to do both. But if you're in the wrong business, it's even more important for you to invest into the market. I know some of you be like, well, when this takes off or when I get funding, some of you will message me and be like, hey, look at my deck. And I'm like, what's the profit margin? 11%. Man, put that shit in the Microsoft. You get a way higher return year over year, 28%, 30% return just by placing capital. But I think sometimes as entrepreneurs, you get so set on the idea of making millions from the idea when you can take the capital from the business, put it into another business and let it grow. NVIDIA just did it with OpenAI in the next round. Microsoft did. They invested into OpenAI. So don't take my word for it. The biggest companies on earth are putting capital into the businesses that they know are going to dominate the 2030s and getting some of the gains from it now.
You must make money while you sleep.
And only buy things that can be sold. Shout out to Benny the Butcher. That was a bar from him, but that's a fact. Yep. It's like, clothes, like you see me, if I wear clothes, like that's a small percent of the money that I'm not spending a lion's share. Yeah, on clothes. Like that, I like clothes, but it doesn't really mean I don't care about clothes like that. I don't care about sneakers. I don't care about clothes. It doesn't mean anything to me. I like to wear it to get fly, but what's more important is to put your money in the stocks, real estate, like things that, because if it hits the fan, you're not gonna be able to sell a jacket. You know what I'm saying?
No.
Like, you're not going to be able to really get a lot of money from a jacket.
Got your name on it.
Like, you know what I mean? But you are going to be able to, you could liquidate stock. You could sell a home. You got to be smart. You just got to be smart.
Yeah.
Like, you know, there's ups and downs.
Percentage in other businesses, like that's the whole game. Reinvest your time and capital back into the ventures that are working for you.
Yeah, and we're not saying take the riskiest investments. Like if you're starting ETFs, indexes, 2-tech, 2-index, we've been saying this for 5 years now, right? Yep. So it's not like, hey, I heard about this penny stock that if I put 20,000 in it, no. Be strategic, be intelligent, right?
Yep.
There's a plan that works. Just stick to it.
So yeah, so don't go crazy buying cars. So when you first get money, don't go crazy buying cars, buying clothes. I mean, you have moderation. You gotta have a car. You have a nice car. You know, you got clothes. You're gonna have nice clothes. Jewelry. I'm never a fan of jewelry anyway because I feel like the jewelry thing is tricky because now you gotta protect the jewelry. So it's like I don't want to be uncomfortable. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like if I'm gonna go somewhere, I don't want to make myself a target. You can't get robbed with something that you don't have.
Yep.
Like, you know what I'm saying? So it's like just be careful with your life. Because it's like you trying to impress other people, but you could lose your life over something that's not even important in the grand scheme of things. So just be careful. Like, you know what I mean? Like be careful of how you're actually displaying your wealth and the things that you're buying, because everybody's not happy for you. And sometimes you make yourself a target by trying to live out your wealth. And that's dangerous.
Yeah. I think that goes back to that over index. Like, it's okay if you are into jewelry, there's no need to over index on it, right? Like you got 4 chains on, or you got the 48-inch Cuban with you can have nice things in moderation, right? And if you are, this is a valuable lesson. You should insure those things, right? Even if you got watches,
absolutely,
because you never know. Like, yeah, granted, nothing happens to you if somebody tries to take it from you, but there are sometimes you might lose it, right? Or you might be in a hotel and you forgot to put yourself in a safe and it gets stolen. Right?
It happened to me. I lost the bracelet.
So, and insured.
I insured it.
Listen, one of my old cleaning ladies picked up my bracelet and act like it was. Oh no,
we never saw it. Yeah, I don't know where it's at.
I don't know where it's at. The camera, the Lil Wild's camera said.
That's you right there. That's you right there in my drawer.
Oh my God. Oh, so don't low that on me and you took my bracelet, my money.
Yeah,
so
sure.
Be careful.
But remember that though, you can't get robbed for what you don't have. That is the easiest way.
Yeah.
Not have to worry about anything. And you see these billionaires, you won't even know that they're billionaires. They got a nice watch on, but you won't even know if it's a nice watch if you're not educated on watches. They don't got it's not like bust down diamonds. Like, why are you doing that? You just destroying a watch. Why are you doing that? You're destroying a watch and you're making yourself dangerous by doing it. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, why are you
advertising yourself to the wolves? Because you don't know who the wolves are.
Exactly. Why are you doing that? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, don't.
Those are the signs.
Don't drill holes in your watch, man. We talked about that a long time ago. But don't deface. It's artwork. Don't deface your watch by putting tasteless diamonds in it. It's not even the clarity. Is not even good clarity.
But that becomes the thing. Like when you walk in some spaces, like you have those things. And, oh, that's new money. They're new money. They're not even. They're new to this. I can tell. Like just of something very simple as a watch. Oh, that's new money. You could be in a suit and have that. Oh, that's new money.
Absolutely.
They're not ready for
and how do you fight the temptation? Principles and habits. I'll be on Eliante page every day. Like, damn, this would kill for the gram. And when I go on my little dates, can't do it. I even did it. What that cost?
That chandelier. Let me get the chandelier.
I'm cool. Tough. Discipline and principles is everything.
So what are trading tips for Black men in their 20s?
Going off principles and habits. I don't think it differs by age. I've said it before, but this era, I want you guys to do it. Focus on one good trade a week. We were talking about this on the call last night. Shout out to my guy. He was asking, like, well, I look at 6 assets. What more can I look at? I'm like, looking at 6 is almost too many. Focus on 2 that you can master. The S&P 500 versus the bond ZB is a hedge fund strategy. So if you focus on 2 assets, you'll be good. Number 3, use the same target over and over again. Just came up on a call last night. Well, I got so good at hitting a small target that I extended my target to go longer. There's nothing wrong with that. But I think the habit of doing the same thing over and over is what gets you the success that you truly want. There's a reason why we publish every Monday and not on Wednesdays when we feel like it. And then fourth, realizing once you reach a certain level of trades, once you go over that threshold, you're walking into a danger zone. So like if I go get the Eliante chain, it probably wouldn't be wise for me to walk through the Bronx at 11:30 at night, even though people in the Bronx love me, right? You have to realize the risk parameters that you put on in your trades. And I think once most people get past 20 or 30 trades for the year, you're flirting with disaster, because the brokerage will want to take money from you, or traders will trade against your position to make sure that you lose money. So the rules are the same from 20s to your 80s. Risk to reward is everything.
So can you?
Hey, it's that story about that trader that came out of, on Tesla. He started with 30 grand, did Tesla options for 3 years, got it up to what, 60 million, and lost it all in 15 trades.
So can you, for educational purposes, can you walk through like one hypothetical trade that would be like considered a good
on a stock side or future side?
Either or, just like
on the future side, ES any day when you if you go to CNBC, shout out to Frank be up crack of dawn 4 o'clock. I'll be looking. If the implied open is 1%, 2% open on a Monday and the news is positive, I will look to go long the ES, maybe 10 points, 5 contracts, 10 contracts. Or if you do like my guy did on the call, you can do 5 contracts on the NASDAQ, 400 ticks. Number I gave out at Market Mondays before, that's 10 grand on the trade. Do that 6-7 times in a quarter. You have a pretty good quarter, and don't go split it with Eliante. Shout to him. So anytime that the implied open, like if Frank is coming on, hey, this is Frank from CNBC. I'm here with Dan Ives. The futures are implied to be up 3%. Oh, we're going to the moon. To the moon. And then if you get them little quotes that Pelosi bought S&P the last week, cool. To the moon. Just follow. The data's there. The question for the audience is, will you apply what you're learning to get the gain opposed to getting high off of the learning?
High off the learning.
Yeah.
Higher learning.
People learn too much. We saw with X. Phenomenal. She was up there like Mook and Lux and Prime. And people like, how do you do this? I'm like, she's giving you the prompt step by step. We went through all these lists. And like you said, I'm expecting, okay, shit, this 500,000 views, easy. What? Okay. The views come in. I'm like, how are you missing out on the map? Sam Altman isn't going to come teach nobody how to use AI. Master class, like master level. I'm taking notes like, damn, I need to do this, but she's smoking all us. Smoking on top 5, like one presentation. How are y'all not applying what she's telling y'all? Like, what? Okay. But this is the thing that makes it great, and shout out to everyone who's here tonight. Those who execute are going to have the lives of their dreams versus the ones who just casually listen.
That's a fact.
Yep.
Okay. What's your prediction for the market for Q4 of this year?
Market's going to be phenomenal. Please put in chat, the market is permanently rigged to stay up. I know. Everyone keeps asking what's going to happen with the election. And none of that shit matters, man. None of it matters. BlackRock is going to do great. Vanguard will do great. Eli Lilly is going to do great despite GLP competitors coming in. Nvidia is going to do great. Microsoft, if they do nothing else but hold on to that 49% position in OpenAI, Microsoft is going to the moon. OpenAI will go to the moon. Tesla, Robo-Taxi Day, not so much, but yeah, Starlink. What else is there to figure out? There's nothing else to figure out. The market is permanently, we went through wars, inflation, quantitative easing. They even told you it wasn't a recession while there was hella coach jobs out. Market's on fire. S&P's up, what, 20-some% this year? Q4 is going to be great. And if she wins, Visa, Uber, Apple, Microsoft, FICO.
Oh.
So.
Oh, you just snuck that last one in there, but that's one of them.
Had to.
I don't know if everybody caught that, but that
added value.
That's an added value piece. Definitely add that to your chessboard. But yeah, I'm with you on that. In addition to everything you said, I think it's going to do really well. Prior to the jobs report last week, when the numbers came in, I thought, yeah, definitely rate cuts in November and December. I'm not sure anymore about November. They're starting to get to levels where they're saying, all right, well, this may not happen. But again, we've seen it historically. And if you've just started investing over the past 5 years, we've seen a microcosm of what a 10-year span could look like with ebbs and flows, a recession, a recovery, a bear market, all that has happened in 4 years, condensed. And if you've studied that, then you can study what happens. And we said this last week, November, traditionally between November to April, best times to invest. October, like we said, will be a little bit rocky. We saw that the Dow was down today. Look, that's fine. That's fine. We're starting. Again, it'll start to steady out. Election is the top of November. Historically, tech companies, especially the top mega cap ones, have performed well and have led the S&P and led the NASDAQ in November. I think that continues, and then we go into that rally for Christmas that we've seen historically over the past 4 to 5 years. I like the fourth quarter. It's a good time. Again, this is September, October. Good time to watch some things pull back. Since you threw one in, crowd, we saw it pull back. We saw what happened over the summer, dropped to levels, started hitting some of those benchmark numbers that we like, 40% depreciation in the stock, even lower on the option side. If we believe in the company, let's grab it at these levels, watch the upside. And then if you were watching, actually, I mean, outside of the information she gave out on AI, there was investing things that she was saying, and they should have sounded familiar to our audience.
Absolutely.
Like, we need security around this. She talked about CRMs, and we'll talk about that in a little bit, but there's companies inside there that we've been speaking about that are using that technology. So yeah, man, I love the fourth quarter. I think we're going to have another one that is productive, and people should be making some money in their brokerage accounts. I'm looking forward to it.
The easiest thing to do is hold for the long term. Vanguard VOO is almost at 600. I don't know if we'll get there by the end of the year, but definitely by the time she wins, it should be at 600.
So,
like, hold for the long term.
Speaking, all right. So let's do this. Hit the like button and share.
Yes.
Let's do this. Because once again, shout out to my guy Star. Yesterday, I was with him, and he was like, "Yo, what's the picks for tomorrow, man?" So let's do some real prize picks if you could.
This is the new prize pick.
Price targets. Let's do some price targets for some companies.
Okay.
Yeah, we can start with Ethan.
I can see. I'm not going to entries. If you want entries, go to envest.com. You get 90 different prices to enter per month. Prices will be out Wednesday, but I definitely can see Eden going up to 370, 850 relatively soon, and over maybe a 2 or 3 year period, getting to like 450. Sleeper company. Not many people talk about it. They're in that kind of category of like sleeping giants. Incredible stock. Please put it on your watch list.
Okay.
Let's do WM. We spoke about WM. This is one of those when we talked inside of infrastructure. Depending on who wins the election, there's still an infrastructure bill. WM, waste management.
And if you look at their returns since 2015, they were at 50. They're currently at 205. They'll definitely hit 300 in like 18 months. If you're in waste management, put it in chat. But for anyone who's held a stock, slow and steady, reliable gains. It's one of those real businesses nobody talks about because it's like a dirty job, no pun intended. But the gains have been absolutely amazing. And just in the last year, they're up $47. October, they were at 150. They're currently at 205. So I would definitely be looking to hold until at least 300. But if you've been holding this for a few years, don't let it go. Do not let it go.
Let's jump to Caterpillar. All right, since we're talking about infrastructure, and these are actually two of the companies that we brought up when we were speaking about infrastructure, waste management, a solid one. Let's jump over to Caterpillar.
It's going to take a longer time. I want that to be my caveat. But at some point, I think Caterpillar is going to have a breakout year like how Eli Lilly has had the last couple of years. I will be holding at least until 550 for a long term hold. It may take 3 or 4 years to get there, but if we look at the infrastructure bill and how important they are, they're probably the most reliable company in that space. They're not going anywhere, don't have many competitive threats internationally or in the States. So I would hold them until 550.
What about Eli Lilly? It's a big one.
Shout out to my baby. If Lilly doesn't split, and now when we do this conversation about if Meta is better than Apple, I'm going to say Lilly is more well-run than Apple. They just don't have the fanfare I think that Apple does. But in a year, 24 months, they should be like at 10.48.23.
Lilly, that's a solid one. They there was an interesting report in the journal yesterday about the weight loss drugs and their actual functionality, right? Like people are losing muscle mass as well as losing. So there's some we don't know the long-term effects, right? Because they probably know the long-term effects, but
they know
the general public
in that vault in Indianapolis,
is not privy to all the long-term effects. So that'll be interesting to see how Novo responds, how Lilly responds to some of these reports that have been coming out. Let's jump to APH, Amphenol Corporation.
It's another sleeper too. I don't love this one as much. It is a good company. In 2.5 years, I have them getting to about 110. If I had to rate them, they probably are a C plus. Lilly's a A, Caterpillar's a A. They are a C plus, but I do see them getting to 110 in about 2 years. Ticker APH.
Yeah, you have it.
And I would say if I wasn't so tech focused, because America's run on tech, some of y'all run on Duncan, but America's run on tech. Lilly would be my number one pick in my formula outside of indexes. So definitely one of my favorites. Tim Cook, please call Indianapolis and figure out what you need to do in that healthcare space. You're about 2 years behind on your healthcare projects. I'm only saying this out of love because I love you and part of my reputation is tied to this company.
I'm banking on
it. But if I get on here and tell y'all today is the day that we dump Apple, shout out to Charlamagne, you're going to see a real black effect. Okay, y'all can talk all that. You guys haven't had the impact on the market that you say you have. Okay. If we have a dump Apple day in 2025, we gonna see. I told y'all the same about Adam. Y'all said I was tripping. Adam, I love you from the bottom of my heart.
Clip that up.
You and your other cohort, your other Blanco cohort too.
Shout out to Adam 22.
Yes.
What does he do again? He got a show. He has 3 shows. I know No Jumper. He has like a different spinoff off of No Jumper too.
Yeah, he got the gang show, which I know Sharp had a show, and then shot the Whack, Big Whack. Hey, Whack, take all that over. I'll see the play.
Whack.
I have no. I'm completely
the Whack and Adam show.
Oh, they got a show together.
Really?
That boy gonna take your whole company over. Whack, I see you. Ooh, line them up. Oh, it's like when you get the steel shot and they you right, throw it up the court. Oh, easy dunk. Look, easy dunk coming. Rebrand No Jumper. You right there. And everybody know your studio is too. Okay. Adam, BMX season coming up real soon, so you can go interview some of them. Then you let Vlad beat you to the White Killer documentary section. What are you doing? What are you doing? The tech companies can take black culture and monetize off of it. You can't show your face and do it. See, he didn't go to the Illuminati meetings. If he would have known not to show his face. So
Illuminati with my mind, soul, and my body. Rest in peace to Prodigy.
Absolutely.
Bandana P.
Yeah.
He would have been a great guest to have on Blackout. He was on that early.
That's a fact.
Early 90s.
Ooh. He's the first one. I think he's the first rapper to ever Illuminati in a record.
As much as I love Tupac got a lot of that from him.
I feel like him.
Illuminati.
Goody Mob had that video around the same time. Shout out to Goody Mob, Thunder Family.
Shout out to Kip. Yeah.
That was like a thing.
Secret society trying to keep their eye on.
Yeah. Yeah, they gonna give you these cards that's like money, bro. Yeah, those are called debit cards, guys. Nah, it was real though. It was real. I remember growing up with that. Yeah, we here.
Y'all see on HBO they got a documentary coming out that's gonna reveal the identity of Satoshi Nakamoto.
Oh yeah,
really?
Man, I said, damn, y'all selling lies to HBO now.
Did not. I did. You know what I did consume this weekend? This is probably a blackout topic, but if y'all didn't, Blink Twice. You heard of that movie?
no.
Zoe Kravitz.
What is it about?
I'll tell you after, and then maybe It's especially the time that we're in. It has to deal with trafficking and power. I would say that I won't give it too much away, but trafficking and power, interesting dynamic, and how it's played out is interesting. So yeah, I would check that out if y'all haven't.
So Salesforce, should Salesforce be removed from XLK? And for people that don't know, XLK is the technology sector ETF inspired the Spider Fund. So there's a bunch of different ETFs inside the Spider. There's the XLY, which is consumer discretionary. There's XLE, which is the energy. I think there's XLF, which is the financial sector. XLK is the financial ETF. The ETF is a group of stocks. So top holdings: Apple, Microsoft, Nvidia, Visa, MasterCard, Broadcom, Adobe, Salesforce, Accenture, and Cisco Systems. So should Salesforce be removed from XLK? And then XLK is a good hedge if you don't want to invest in individual stocks. You want to invest in a group of stocks. So that's why the ETFs is beneficial. So yeah, what's up with Salesforce?
First off, I want to say I love Mark Benioff and everyone.
Oh no! I thought you were gonna go the other way. Okay, go ahead.
And I know he's had a lot on his plate, being the amazing leader that he is. But if you look at the return of CRM, last 5 years is 93.8%. The S&P's return 93.64%. You get a multiple in being in tech alone. So profit margin is 15%. And with all the AI agents and technology, because they are being reactionary opposed to innovating, Salesforce should be doing a hell of a lot better in this AI wave, because it would benefit everybody who's on the enterprise side that can use those agents. Like, I haven't heard one person say, hey, I'm using Salesforce, and as a result, it's writing out my email campaigns for me with the touch of a button. I shouldn't be using chat cheap. Okay, now I'll ask this question. If OpenAI becomes public tomorrow, should they be in there over Salesforce?
Yeah, of course. OpenAI is
the dog. Everybody dying, no lying. I love Salesforce, but my thing is, and this is my issue, same with Apple, I like to bring up the issue before the emergency gets to the door. I don't think they've innovated enough. At a time when I should be able to go through every email and customize based on purchase history and price and demographic and psychographic, I can't do almost any of that shit in Salesforce at scale easily. It's easier to do in ChatGPT. So you either are going to innovate or you're going to be comfortable and die. I don't think the company is dead. I don't think they should be in XLK though.
Ooh.
What are your thoughts? Mark Benioff, I love you from the bottom of my heart. Tony Robbins, I love you dearly. You know that. I helped move a whole bunch of books for you. But I don't see what competitive advantage Salesforce has over. Okay, now it's like, if not OpenAI, shit, Google LM just made a whole podcast with emotional feelings, and they found that they weren't human. Haven't seen you do any. Have we seen any innovation come out of Salesforce that we as business owners want to use? It's not even a consideration. I'll hop on Bard first before I go into Salesforce to make something using AI.
All right, so I agree with you that it should be doing better. I do agree with you. We have to ask ourselves a question though. Are they the leader in the space? CRMs.
Sam Altman kicked his whole.
No. I'm going. Let me land it. Are they the leader in the space?
Yes.
Okay, they are the leader in the space. They should be doing more. I completely agree with you. They have been slow to adopt AI. That is changing. That they have been extremely, you know what? I'll put extremely slow. They've been extremely slow. That is changing. When I heard X speaking the other night, and this is one of the things that I asked her, and she talked about infrastructure and how it can change and how they're integrating it now. You can see that that's going to completely disrupt the customer relations management entire sector, right?
Oh yeah, they're gonna turn it upside down.
Which means that they can now be more efficient without being as expensive. So now more cost efficient, more efficient from a work production, but more cost efficient, which means that there's that middle ground in between means more profit. Year to date, their profit margin, right? We always talk about profit margin is up 4%. Yep. So they're at 15% right now, year to date. That's a bonus, right? When you look at it, if their profit margin is going up, that means it's not going down. That's a good sign. They're interested in the way that I'm not comparing them to NVIDIA, but NVIDIA is looking for large corporate accounts. So when they have Microsoft, when they have Google, when they have Meta, Oracle just said they're going to spend over 25 billion or 6 billion for Blackwell. They're in that realm where they're not focused on small accounts. They're focused on
they always been focused on bigger corporations,
large corporate. So if they can provide more efficient service at a cheaper price point to more corporate, I understand why. Now, why should they stay in XLK? I think they will and they should, is because that AI technology that it now becomes even more streamlined with the companies that are aligned with it. They're in there with Broadcom. They're in, obviously not NVIDIA leads that fund, but it's aligned with the companies that are in there because the AI infusion inside of it. So I think they belong there. I think they stay there. And I can see the profit margin increasing as they integrate AI and it becomes a more efficient business plan using it. They have been slow with it. Yes. They need to do more. Yes. Is there a great leader leading the company?
Absolutely. He's amazing.
So that's a bonus for me.
But if I can hit a button on Copilot,
are those colored? Like what is that? Your knee right there? Like
my bad. I'm putting my knee down. Yeah. Well, I put the flowers on my clothes since they won't give them to me. You know what I mean? Y'all don't want to give me my flowers. So I put on the garments. You know what I mean? But if I can hit Copilot,
go ahead.
Yeah. Let me get your
knee back.
Yeah. And I can hit a button okay, so why in the age of automation are we still having to do manual tasks in a CRM? Why didn't y'all buy a little nuclear power plant in Michigan to have the AI agents work for the business if you're selling the enterprise? So if I'm a business owner and I can pay $20 a month for OpenAI and get most of the functionality that I can by paying however many thousand per year, what's the benefit when it's not automated?
So what you're saying is 100%, but they're not Microsoft, right? Like Microsoft has done that. They're saying like, look, we're going to be one-stop shop. We're going to create the energy, which is an issue, right? Not an issue, but it's a definitely something that needs to be addressed inside of the space. They're not Microsoft. They're saying like, this is our thing. And yes, we're the best at it when it comes to customer relations. They're not saying like we're going to build the infrastructure, we're not going to provide the energy, and right. So Copilot will be its competitor, but how many people? It's a great competitor. So that's why I said that it'll be dependent on what they innovate inside of AI. Because for a while it wasn't happening, and we spoke about this, and this is the reason why I brought up HubSpot, and I'm like, look, HubSpot, the same reason why you should.
I don't want to say it. HubSpot outperforming them.
Well, they
functionality
took a hit because of the potential sale to Google that didn't go through, but I still see them for the small to medium tier businesses and entrepreneurs. The cost point, and again, X literally told you how much it costs. It can get pricey, but if you have a business, again, it's actually worth it. I'm putting a hold on this. I'm putting a hold and see, not a hold the stock, but a hold and see before we say, all right, let's remove them.
If they created a chatbot or automation agent that can go through at least in your emails and auto prompt the reply, they would have a competitive advantage. Right now, they don't have one. They don't have one. I'm always thinking in the future. Okay, so because if OpenAI becomes public, since Sam kicked everybody off, look, Sam Altman got rid of Elon and his whole board. You don't think he has a plan how to help every enterprise on earth? You finessed one of the greatest finesses in Elon off the board. What? And cleared the board? This is White Suge Knight. You don't think he has a plan after he made everyone invest into him how to build agents? So if they build an agent in 2 years just to reply to email, what is Salesforce going to do?
But that's another interesting point, right? And I'm glad she said that, the hallucination standpoint, where it's not a search engine. It studies information, gives back information. Whereas you might not make the right prompt, right? Like that customer relations is very specific,
very important,
very niche to, like, you have to answer these things correctly. They have the data points, they have all of the engineering for it. How the integration process will determine it.
And if Zuckerberg put an AI agent inside of Instagram, y'all think I'm litty now. Hey, Rashad, I'll see you with the translation.
Maybe that's who Meta hires. Salesforce will be their partner. We'll see.
That would be great.
Yeah. All right. Corporate accounts.
Well, let's talk about student loans. Obviously, everybody knows that student loans, over $1 trillion of American student loan debt, is only growing year over year. Said to be one of the biggest issues that are facing Americans. Joe Biden tried to have student loan relief thing that got shut down by the court recently.
So they reopened it,
and then it got shut down.
Yeah.
So Sallie Mae, you can invest in Sallie Mae.
Mm-hmm.
Stock ticker is SLM. So being that student loan is a major provider of debt, Sallie Mae, one of the biggest in the game. Would you think that would be a good stock to invest in?
I love the question. Over the last 5 years, the stock is only up $14. It's one of those stocks, if all hell breaks loose, is good to invest in. So like the recession or COVID, but long-term, no. Even though it's pricier, FICO, a lot better. BOK, BlackRock, a lot better. XOK, even with Salesforce in it, a lot better. If you can get it at the price of like $7 or $8, yes. But anything above $11 is almost uninvestable because it's hard to get a great return out of it. So like the idea of investing, because the market is incredibly big, they're never going to grant relief to everyone that has student loans. But no, as a company, I would not encourage anyone to invest unless you got in at $7 or $8 or got back to that 2007 level of like $3. If it go into $3, I'm putting everything I can into it. But no, I wouldn't recommend it. Anything above $11 to invest into the company. Great idea, but they don't have the backing or the like from hedge funds and fund of funds to drive enough capital into that stock to make it worth it. The return has been decent though over the last 5 years, 200% return, but you can get a lot better return elsewhere. The only thing that makes it really interesting though to think about the manipulation of the student loan crisis, as a publicly traded stock, the profit margin is 43%. They're damn near neck and neck with NVIDIA. That's troubling. So
that's like one of those companies, like if there was, I mean, obviously he's tried to push it through and his time here in office is about to run up, but imagine if that gets pushed through, what that does to the stock.
That company, absolutely.
You're talking about a large amount of debt that's going to now be forgiven from a company that's collecting the debt. Now, when they split, because originally it was Sallie Mae, then it became Navient, and Navient separated, and they separated. They took over 400 billion of the debt,
so, something like that.
So they took 400 billion of the debt. Sallie Mae still trading SLM. Something like loan forgiveness I wouldn't be sleeping.
Hinder.
I wouldn't sleep well at night knowing that was on the table. So again, when we talk about stocks that could be affected by elections, this is top tier, top of the line.
Yes. Yes, that will not go well in their favor. So, and I think when you have a company that universally they don't like your product, it's really hard to want to invest into that particular company. Visa better, VO better, BLK's better. Return for sure. Bitcoin is better. So no, you can't invest in Sallie Mae.
Yeah, and the formula of having our college prices going up and students saying, well, I'm walking into this debt trap. Like, I want to go to college. I want to go to 4-year school. I know it's going to cost me $200,000. Yep. You can see college admissions is going down, right?
Dramatically.
The application process is going down. People taking SATs. I know some schools aren't even required. That has gone down. The way people are being educated has tremendously changed from 15, 20 years ago, where it was take the college route. That's the way to get a great job and be successful, right? That's not the avenue anymore. Obviously, what we're doing here and educating people on different ways to invest their money, to actually educate themselves and make money from not only themselves, but the people around them has changed. I don't know how many people in the next 20, 50 years are saying, all right, I'm signing up for student loan debt.
No, not many. I think people are becoming too smart. And to all those of you who run like nefarious businesses but are deemed legal, you got to reinvent the racket. Like when people are at scale having a conversation on what's the return of investing into a college versus going to a trade school or becoming an entrepreneur first, you're in trouble. You are in trouble. Like being pro crypto is really a short on the education system and not believing that the education system is going to pay you more than crypto. There's a lot of battles that are happening right now, and a lot of y'all are losing because you won't reinvent what college or education looks like. You have policies in place to make sure it does not change. Crazy. Get the people what they want.
So do you think
and if y'all don't go watch the interview with X, when Rashad get mad and hey, we tried to give it to you. I'm gonna be right with him. We tried to give you everything. A girl put on a presentation, did the live large language model prompting and all. She typing. I said, "Damn, you Professor X." I'm telling you, if you miss this one, this is on you. And when this is going to be a requirement for any job or business that you run. When people are like, "Well, I don't use ChatGPT," I'm like, smoking on you. Easy victory. What?
Do you think that the college debt should be removed for Americans?
It should be, but it never will be. If they removed college debt, it will cause a crater in our financial system. So they need that debt. Like I don't see them University of Phoenix ads as much as I used to. That little scandal rocked America. Nobody blinked an eye. University of Phoenix was big. That was the top of the loan bubble. Okay, great. Now, if they report, if that bubble pops and people really find about these ghost jobs, that's the real reason you can't have a recession. If I have a recession, how am I still having pro 800,000 jobs? Impossible. And the yield curve inverted again. Nobody's talking about it.
Yeah, you get college debt relief at cost of what? Like, it's like when people say, like, yeah, we want to have, free healthcare, like they do in Canada, but what's it at the cost of? Like, what gets increases your taxes? Like, what gets raised because you eliminate that debt?
Well, I don't think that anything has to get raised. I think it's a reallocation of money that's already spent. I mean, we've sent over $200 billion to Israel since World War II. We sent $20 billion to Ukraine. No, I'm just saying on foreign aid. Ukraine, Somalia, you name it. Panama. We've sent probably over $1 trillion in the last 30 years to foreign countries. So
easily.
So if you look at it from that standpoint, I mean, there's money that's already being allocated and funded for foreign interest. So why not have money allocated towards domestic interest?
So the reallocation play.
And that needs to be restructured. But then if you do that.
But I mean, even the thing of America, it's not like you have to really cut. Like if we need to send money to a foreign country, we just send the money and we just go in more debt. We're already in tremendous debt already. So it's not like it's only a problem when it's for certain things. If Ukraine needs money, then they getting $20 billion. It's only a problem when it's like healthcare, or how are we gonna get homeless people off the street, or how are we gonna. Then it's like, oh well, we gotta raise taxes, or we gotta do this. But I mean, you're able to get $20 billion for a country in 2 months with a unanimous vote in Congress. Where'd the money come from?
It's like when a primary girl asks you, like, can we go on vacation? And the other girl asks you, can I get the nails done? Like, do you really need the nails this week? It depends on the priority of the country. We're getting into a whole nother politics bag that we can't address. Yeah, baby, got you.
Do you really need it?
We really need it.
Can you please preface that these are just jokes, please?
Written by 85 South. I'm single, so I can joke all I want now. So, I've been single, technically, but single. You know what I mean? Lover boy era. But the international expenditures, which is not talked about enough, and the debt being so high is going to cause a bigger issue. I think the reason why we don't want to invest into our people in our current infrastructure is because we didn't got deboed in some other places and we send that capital out too fast. And if we put the money where it needs to be placed on the people, it's going to ruin our economy. FEMA just said they don't have a fucking $1,000 per resident for people who are in trouble.
Well,
how FEMA go broke?
That's what I'm saying. It's all about we have the money. That's what they it's triggering for Americans. They try to use that like, oh well, I'm not going to pay for somebody else's student loans when they made a decision to go to college. They didn't have money. Okay, well you're paying for a foreigner's war that you never met before.
Big facts.
Yeah, no problem with that.
Mm-hmm.
No, like
not gonna bet you eye.
Mm-hmm.
A place that you'll probably never visit, people that you've never seen before. You financing that? You're financing drones and rockets and
big fact. Them drones moving fast as hell in them little war zones.
So, what's the deciding factor here?
Who it's helping?
Who decides war? Shout out to Meek Mill. He's actually putting out some good quality music these days.
You liked it? You liked that joint?
I always like everything that Meek Mill puts.
You like everything he's put up?
Yeah, I'm a Meek Mill fan. I think that
really
he's under.
We don't talk about it on Blackout.
Really?
Champions.
That was a
legendary album.
Tough.
That's his best album. To me, I think that's his best album.
Champions was tough.
Yeah, I think that's best. I think that's his classic. Yeah. Shout out to Who Decides War, the brand though. I know you're talking about the song, but the brand itself is one of them brands that is they off to a great start. I love what they're doing. Shout out to them.
I agree.
Yeah.
Who decides war?
Yeah,
you like that?
We're gonna talk on Blackout because there's some little people throwing some grenades his way.
A lot of people. It's definitely a smear campaign. He's not helping. He's not helping the situation because he does do some things that could potentially be taken out of context. But it's interesting.
As soon as he got out the Matrix, all of a sudden every attack on Earth came on that boy. Why?
That's a fact. That's a fact.
Oh, yeah.
Lupe would just talk about it. When he was in a meeting when Lupe Fiasco was on fire, we go straight up told him, you don't sign this 360, man. We not gonna promote your music, not even the songs we give you.
Yeah. That was the kick push era.
Yep.
Yeah, I saw that.
Did he sign it?
Nah.
And we saw what happened.
Leor Cohn.
Yeah, exactly.
Head of YouTube Music.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. I like the vultures who be honest in their vultureness, though.
Man,
Leor, come sit down, have a talk with us.
Who decides war? Shout out to Tumba.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Okay. Healthcare stocks. Obviously, healthcare is the biggest sector in the economy. So there's a lot of different healthcare companies.
Yeah.
So which healthcare companies do you recommend investing in?
Of course, Eli Lilly. I like Novo a lot. Once again, less is more. There are a lot to pick from potentially. Humana is another good one. Illumina is okay, but Amgen, Eli Lilly, Novo are the ones that I liked. Pfizer, they've lost their way along the way. I don't know what happened. They lost the rights to their Viagra drug and just fell apart. I don't know what happened to them, but if I had to pick three, and for the record, if tech was not my main sector that I was investing in, healthcare would be it. Lilly would be number one. As of now, Novo would be number two. Amgen will probably be third in like the pharma space. You also have Stryker, which is a phenomenal company that I've talked about endlessly. I don't think it's talked about enough. And then if you want a dark horse, Vertex Pharmaceuticals is a company you can look at, but it has to be at the right price. But if I have to like bet my life on just one, Lilly, hands down. I know the GLP drugs are having some pushback and they have some things they need to fix, but Eli Lilly is incredibly run. Always been quiet in their executive management. They've always been incredibly focused. Great recruiting, great development of drugs. The organization is impeccable. They're like Belichick before time and Bill start to get into it. Another listen, Rashad, I'm gonna give you some credit. Bill's been real likable on these podcasts.
Shout out to Billy.
He's been real likable. So
he's doing prospects now.
Billy Belichick.
Bill, you look up. I'll see how you got that 22-year-old.
I see him and Cam. I said, "Oh, okay,
okay." Bill, you got a little personality. Okay, you may have put some swag on Brady. My bad. We're talking.
He had the cut off sweater with the hoodie, man.
Shout out to Billy B.
I'll throw another one in there for you, Ian. I spoke about it probably for the past 3 years, and that's Thermo Fisher. I think is not mentioned enough. Not mentioned enough.
Monster.
If you look at its chart, it's incredible. If you understand what their business is inside of healthcare, anytime there's a drug that needs to be capsulized, it needs to be shipped, they're part of that process. TMO is definitely one. If you're looking into the healthcare space, that should be on there. It's in my top 5 for sure. But another way, and we spoke about the Spider Fund, XLV is there. Go look at the allocations.
Yep.
Everything that you just named,
it tells you.
is right there. If these funds are if they're they have a percentage of 5% or more, these are the companies that they're looking at for the future inside those sectors. So definitely TMO added to your list.
Yeah, and in XLV and the Vanguard version, once a month, go check on the allocation. Mm-hmm. People are like, well, how do you know that this is? Once I got hip to NVIDIA and I bought the chips and I start seeing them to be in other funds, I'm like, it's only a matter of time. You can see what OpenAI right now. The kind of press that Sam is getting, you can't pay. Oh, he was on with Oprah prime time. I'm like you message me, then my mom messages me. If you can't see in the 2030s, that's going to be OpenAI's era, mistake. Microsoft got it.
Yeah. All right.
150 billion, right?
Who decides war?
150 billion.
Who decides war? Good question.
I don't know. I'm two little jackets. I'm gonna wear my date night though, boy.
Fire.
When I put that shit on.
Fire. I'm going to war.
Mm-hmm. That's a great question, though, Rashad. Who decides? Who
decides war?
Good
question.
Tough.
Good question.
Yeah.
Amazon. Okay. Do you think that Amazon has the potential to break over 200 by the end of the year?
I don't know about end of the year, but I definitely see it in 2025. Great company, rebounded well, don't have any major competition. Jack Ma's still quiet, so that's the only piece on the chessboard I'm worried about is Alibaba. I think they've done incredibly well. Of course, they can make the profit margins better, but from a market share standpoint, who is the nearest competitor? Like Instagram hasn't figured out that shop thing, how TikTok has. So Meta isn't a threat yet. Will be soon. Give it 3 or 4 years. Mm-hmm. But Amazon is poised to do well over the next 3 or 4 years. But if Meta gets that shop format down and get people accustomed to buying off of that platform, it is game over.
Yeah, it's an interesting question, especially today. It got downgraded. I don't even know the last time I saw it being downgraded. Yeah, Wells Fargo analyst downgraded it to one.
Wells Fargo, y'all do all that thieving and downgrade a company better than you. Make it make sense.
But they said the reason is that it got downgraded is that their investment into their satellite internet business, they haven't seen any return on that yet. When you spoke about competition, they said the closest competition is Walmart. As well as healthcare. So that would be the closest competition. And then obviously the cloud service, we know AWS, and every year, I feel like every quarter we talk about AWS.
Have to.
But that lead, every time we talk about it, it's getting smaller and smaller when we talk about Microsoft and Google in the cloud space. Yes, it still leads. Is it enough? I think so. I think Amazon is I still would say it's my favorite company to invest in, just because it can touch multiple different industries and come in and dominate and literally take over industries. I still like it for that standpoint. Downgrade, I'm not sure I would do it. This is why the analysts did it, but I definitely 200 by next year for sure. Maybe not at January 1st, 2025, but at some point in the first 2 quarters, it'll be at 200.
Yeah. Profit. The only concern is profit margin, 7.3%. Y'all got to find a way to get that up to 11, 12, 13, 14. I know y'all got the Amazon Prime, but y'all better figure out another little fee to stack on top like that. You call CEO Visa, he'll help you figure it out.
The cost of expansion, right? When you dive into different industries, it costs you. It costs you.
Keep your eye on that profit margin. I know I've been beating this like a drum, but one of the most important things to factor in is that profit margin, because once that dwindles down to 5%, you're in purgatory financially at that point. So
forensic accounting at that point.
Yep.
Okay. What about rate cuts and inflation?
Troy alluded to it earlier. I don't know if we're gonna have another one. I think it would make it so unfair publicly before the election. If we get a rate cut in November before the election, that'd be crazy. Even October will be tough. So I don't know if we'll get another one, but inflation is always going to increase. I don't care what the public says, what the government says. Cost of houses are going to go up. Cost of goods are going to go up. Thank God we got this port situation with Tony Soprano fixed, because he was not for play. So
that was quick.
Because I'm like, if you drop rates 2% and then you stop all the goods from coming in for 30 days, prices are going to increase 15% and we're going to have to pay them. So this is why it's really important to invest in the stock market, because any price dispersion that happens in terms of inflation, you'll still be above water by investing. But if not, you're going to be drowning in debt. No pun intended.
Yeah, the percentages of that they're having. We initially thought there was going to be 2 rate cuts after they announced the one in September, and it was going to happen in November and December. And now the percentages of those happening have come down substantially. So it's leaning towards maybe, like what you just said, there isn't another rate cut. Because again, you don't want to cut rates and then have people then prices are going to go up again. And I don't know how you reverse it. So it would be great from an investment standpoint, short term. Long term,
short term, it would be great. Yeah, to the moon.
Not so much long term.
What's your thoughts on the overall outlook for the American economy?
It's fucked up. I'm gonna be real. There is like no middle class. That's dead for sure. And just as a country, we're not investing enough in infrastructure. Education, we're falling behind in. First generation, maybe 100 years, it does not want to go to college. It realizes it's not worth the investment. And we don't have a whole bunch of companies in the country that people want to even work for, because the work-life balance is off. And even Amazon pushing to have people back in the office 5 days a week. We're entering a new era of automation. Why do I need to be in the office 5 days a week if we got all this automation and shit? Y'all got the whole cloud server in the middle of nowhere, and I have to give up 70 or 80% of my time to a company that doesn't care about me. Going back to principles and habits, right? I think we've lost our principles selling off most of our assets to other countries. And for the first time in a long time, white Americans feel like the country don't care about them. That's what scares me. Every time I get to traveling, I get to see more white people pop up in Mexico. I'm like, what the fuck y'all doing in Culiacan? What? Okay. Interesting. So while the stock market is done incredibly well, the overall economy is not as strong as it should be, even though we thwarted the COVID debacle. We've really been in trouble since 2019-ish. That's a long time for an economy to not be thriving or doing its best. I thank God that things have gone well for us, but when I look at the overall economy, most people are not confident in it at all.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I was looking at this report from Boardroom. Shout out to everybody over there. They had the companies that want their employees back in office 5 days a week by 2027. It's interesting, man. Apple, Meta, Tesla, Disney, Starbucks, Zoom, which is interesting.
That's an automatic short. Like, you can't short too much lower, but if you built a work from home software, but you need to be in the office,
yeah, that one's Nvidia is not on that list.
Who?
Nvidia.
Oh,
they,
no,
they still like the hybrid model. They're still going with the hybrid model. Yeah. Verizon's on that list. Microsoft is on that list of the hybrid model. FedEx, Visa on that hybrid list. But that's interesting.
But I think it's also a thing of we don't have enough skilled workers as far as in the tech space. Canada has an interesting thing where their immigration. If you're a skilled tech worker, you get a visa to Canada without a job. You don't even have to have a job lined up. So America has been harder for even skilled workers to come into the country. We're not producing high level talent, and we don't have low skill workers either. So it's an interesting drain on the talent pool in America. A lot of talent's going to Canada, Australia, different countries, India. Mm-hmm. Well, and a lot of Indians are going to different countries too, like Australia and stuff like that. But yeah, I mean, we're not producing high level people for sure, and we're falling behind in the tech race. That's definitely Asia, different countries throughout Asia.
Are you saying that because as to why like an Nvidia and Microsoft would have hybrid, or
no, just in general?
Oh, okay.
So that's not going to fare well for the economy moving forward. Like, it's not. If all of the major players are going to be in other countries as far as the manufacturing, computer programming, different things of that nature, we're not producing at the same level. There's more AI. There's more AI job applications than there are people that actually know AI. So
we need more.
We're at a very interesting crossroads. Like, even politically, we don't have that many high-level politicians. Like, hypothetically, for the Republican Party, if Trump does not win, he says that he's not going to run again, who is the next in line to be presidential candidate after him? 10 years ago, this wouldn't be a fucking question. I don't see any prospects. Until Elon figure out how he can get in the White House and manipulate whoever is in there, like Dick Cheney.
He was with the campaign this weekend.
I just think the whole political process is even pandering. I didn't realize 70% of Americans don't have college degrees. You know that?
Really? I didn't know that.
Yeah. So you don't have to have a college degree to be successful, but there are a lot of uneducated people in America. White people too. A lot of uneducated white people. And I think the politicians are not doing themselves a favor by pandering to uneducated, low-skilled workers by making promises like, yo, we want to make housing affordable. It's not going to get, you can't do that. It's not impossible. We're like, oh, we want to make sure that everybody has ability to get a good job. It's impossible. It's not going to happen. And that's even when Tim Cook years ago, when they was like, he was in front of Congress and they were saying like, how can we bring all of these jobs that Apple has overseas back to America? And he said, it's impossible. You can't bring them back to America because the price that we can pay people overseas, we can't do in America. And it's so much regulation, red tape. You got unions, so much stuff. And then from the skills standpoint, the skills are not there as well. So no, we can't. I mean, you just gotta be honest. Pricing is not going to be affordable. It's only going to go up. I just saw a report that there's more homeless people than ever. 10% increase from last year, 600,000 homeless people.
That's crazy.
So
nationwide?
Yeah. Whew. So housing is not going down. It's not going to, I don't care how much affordable housing you try to make or how much rent control. That's putting a Band-Aid on a gunshot wound. The overall housing market is only going to continue to go up. It's like the stock market. Housing prices go up over the course of time. Yeah. Less jobs will be available, and it's not going to be higher paying jobs. It's not going to happen. A good job there's no such thing as a good job. A good job is being an NBA player. That's a good job. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, as far as trying to get a good job, as far as
in tech, if you can break in, but it's really tough to break into.
And even tech, they had mass layoffs last year, right? When Meta laid off 10,000 people, tech jobs is not guaranteed anyway, especially when it comes to AI taking a lot of tech jobs away. People running leaner operations. So, we just gotta be honest. This is a new age economy, and if you're not participating at a high level as an entrepreneur, as an investor in technology, you're not going to make it. You're not going to make it. Everybody's not going to make it. That's the harsh reality of life, and I feel like other countries are embracing that, and they're setting their children up to have mandatory skill sets. They're setting their children up to have less access to things that's not important because they know that they have no choice. Like, we still want to, act like it's 1950 and say like everybody deserves a good paying job. Everybody, they deserve it, but it's not going to happen. The more you feed people that lie, the more it's going to be tougher and tougher and tougher for people to actually survive in this economy, for sure. So, and that's on both sides of the aisle. I think just politicians in general, it's you're pandering to people. I understand why you're pandering to them, but you're telling people lies really by saying that. It's not something that is sustainable. And we have a major problem with a lot of uneducated, low skilled workers in America. We blame migrants for the situation, but we got a lot of issues outside of the migrants. The migrants, that's not the end all be all. You can not have one migrant come in for the rest of the year. It's still going. Where are you still going to live? Where are you still going to work? Where are you still going to that's not going to solve every single problem by just trying to build a border fence. So.
And even with that, every time I go to Mexico, they told all the Mexicans to build a wall, and Mexico gonna pay for it. And every time I go to Mexico, I see more white people than ever on international arbitrage, driving up the prices of homes in other places because the price has gotten too high here in the States. Like, if you don't have a mortgage or have a plan to be free and clear by the next 15 years, like by 2030, I think I was looking this past weekend, I put it in Stock Club, the average home price in New York is going to be $998,000. That's not that far away. It's not that far away. So,
for sure. And like you said, I mean, everybody talks about people that are driving up prices in America. Americans are driving up prices all over the world.
Everywhere else. All right. Italy, Rome, Australia, India, definitely Mexico, Puerto Rico, y'all ran the price up on the island. Like,
throw a dart.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Gotta be free and clear.
You said it's interesting. When I just had this conversation the other day about affordable housing. I'm like, that's really a subjective term, because how do you determine what's affordable?
Fact.
Like, you can go here in White Plains or anywhere in Westchester, and a 2-bedroom is going to cost you $3,000. Right? You get it at affordable housing, and it's like $1,800. If somebody doesn't have a job that's paying over 65, 70,000, then it's not. How do you 30%? It just doesn't. The math doesn't map.
And for clarification, from ChatGPT, 62% of United States adults do not hold a four-year degree.
We said that's not a search engine though. So it's not pulling off on
62% of Americans do not.
You gotta go to Google.
It pulls information from Google,
but it's not pulling. She said this. That's why I said you gotta. So like, take it from Google, take it from a search engine, where that's just.
Well, this is what politicians told me as well. Yeah. So 62% of Americans do not have 4-year degrees.
Mm.
That means 38% of Americans have 4-year degrees.
Right. So it's still more people don't have them than do.
Yeah. Well, I said 62.
Yeah.
It's still the majority
of people don't.
The majority of American adults do not have 4-year degree. And like I said, having a 4-year degree doesn't mean that you're not intelligent.
Let's just pause there. And it doesn't mean that it guarantees you anything.
No, of course not. But
which is crazy.
Nothing.
It does speak to a lot of formerly uneducated people.
Yeah. You know what? But that also ties into the conversations we just had earlier about investing in Sally Mae. Right? Like if it's let's just say it's 60-40, right? If 60% of the people are not accumulating that debt, what does that tell you about the future trajectory of that company?
Of the company, yeah.
Right? Because that means that number, I don't see that number swaying.
Increasing. No.
Right?
I think people going to college has peaked. Probably peaked around 2005.
But the cost of college is going up. So even if it's less,
you have more, right?
Even if the college inflation is 2 times regular inflation.
Yeah.
So even if it's less people going, they're still going to be borrowing more money because the price is going up
until
2 times higher than regular inflation.
Until people just say, I'm not going, period. Even if at that scale, right? Like at a certain point, I can't go to NYU. Like if my daughter is like, and granted, like we're obviously blessed, but if she's like, let's say an average person who doesn't get a scholarship, a kid has pretty good grades, and he's like, I want to go to NYU, and it's $70,000 a year, and you're talking a 4-year degree, like that's tough. Yeah, that becomes impossible.
Well, what's your options if you don't have a college degree?
Well, Google. Once I saw Google and Meta said it wasn't mandatory anymore a couple of years ago, that put some waves through that student loan marketers and colleges have to do better. But I think we have to start.
There's not a lot of high-paying jobs, people that are highly skilled that only have high school diplomas. In theory, yes. But what I'm saying is that how many tech software engineers do you know that just taught themselves how to computer code and have never went to college? There are some people that have done that.
Right.
But the vast majority of people that are just getting through high school without a high school degree, with a high school diploma, and have never gone to college or are not finishing colleges, these people are not highly skilled workers in the workforce. This is people that I just know firsthand from my firsthand experience. Right? I don't know one person personally that has not graduated from college that is a highly skilled person. Now, I'm just speaking from just people that I know personally.
I know a couple.
I do. But
I know a couple.
I would say this time is so unique because even if they don't have the degree, right, they still have an opportunity with technology to figure out how to do something, right? Like YouTube has, and again, back to the first conversation of showing you skill, like literally there are things that I've watched on YouTube and I'm like, okay, I'm just going to study this, right? Like people watch us and say that. They're like, yo, I had no idea about this career. I watched that episode and sparked my mind to think like, oh man, I can do this. Let me go dive down this rabbit hole to figure out more information about that. Now, are you highly skilled? I guess you got to be in the practice of doing it, right? But the information is there to the how, whereas before, if you didn't go to college, it was like, I don't know what you're going to do. Now it's like, if you don't go to college, there's some things you can still do.
I mean, I'm just speaking. I'm just a practical person, right? So the average person that has a bachelor's degree earns between $65,000 and $75,000 a year. The average adult with a high school diploma earns between $35,000 and $40,000 a year. This is just a fact. So what I'm saying is that there's always going to be outliers, right? But I'm saying the vast majority of people, education at the highest level still lends you more opportunity to make more money. Right. So having a college degree is still going to give you a better opportunity in the grand scheme of things to earn more money than if you just have a high school diploma. You don't need to have a college degree to become a millionaire. You don't need to have a college degree to become a billionaire. Mark Zuckerberg does not have a college degree. But what I'm saying is that for the average American, right, the best pathway forward is still with college, which leads to debt. And being that the majority of people do not have college degrees, well, now you start to see why we're in economic trouble and why the average person is almost a $20,000 difference. That adds a lot.
Yeah, but
what do you mean by economic trouble?
In the 1980s and pay off a car by working in the factory. The people didn't do that. The politicians who sold the shit to China fucked that up.
Right. Like I wouldn't say that those are the people that are causing the economic trouble.
No, I'm saying when I say economic trouble, I'm saying the whole entire country is in economic trouble. So what I'm saying is that if you earn less money, right, you have a greater strain on you for housing, for groceries, to buy a car, to put your kids in college, to put your kids in school, right? So when you have a lot of people earning less money, right? That's gonna cause a disruption in the ecosystem. So now you start to see, okay, now it makes sense. If the majority, if there's $20,000 difference between people that graduate from college, people that don't graduate from college, and 65% whatever of people do not graduate from college, that means the majority of people are just off the bat have a harder time to make money, right? So now you got a whole majority underclass of people that is going to be harder for them to ever rise up, to ever make six figures, to ever become $1 million. That's going to be tremendously harder for them, right? Now, when multiple generations start to do that, now you have millions and millions and millions and hundreds of millions of people that are all stuck in that same belly. Now it becomes a drain on society, and it becomes difficult for those people to move up the economic ladder. As opposed to the people that's highly educated, they might not even become millionaires themselves, but they have a higher trajectory in life to earn more money. And that's going to be more beneficial for society.
If I was a debt servicing company, wouldn't it behoove me to lobby to tell people that if you buy this thing from me, you're going to make 20,000 more. And if you don't buy this thing from me, you won't be able to have a white picket fence. We can talk about it on Blackout, but
so you're saying that the numbers are not real numbers?
Not saying that they're not real, but if I cause the chaos as to why, because in the 1980s, even through early 1990s, most families in most cities could have a 9-degree base job and own a home.
But that's what I'm saying. But those days are over. With the days of working at a factory and becoming,
who caused that though?
Well, a lot of things caused it. I think that just the general technology took away a lot of jobs.
But it also created a lot of jobs.
No, it did, but it took away a lot of low-skilled jobs. Like before, you can go to a power plant, you can go to different. You could become a blue-collar person and have 2 cars, have a home. You could live the American dream with
another family up the street and be okay.
With low-skill education, low skills and low education. What I'm saying is that now that's difficult to do. It's difficult to live that life with low skills and low education. You got to have at least one or the other. It behooves you to have both.
Yeah, I'm not denying that. I'm just saying that there's opportunity to have a higher level of education. Obviously, I think there needs to be school reform, but there's an opportunity to have a higher level education without going to college or university. Whereas in the past, that wasn't an opportunity.
No, for sure. I'm just saying. I mean, we've created a platform where people can educate themselves and make millions of dollars based off of the information without going to college or school. So I understand that, but I'm just saying, just speaking large numbers, the educational system in America is broken. Let's just say,
or is it working how it's supposed to?
Until it's not working how it's supposed to.
It's what Rockefeller paid for the American education system. It is working perfectly fine for what it was designed to do.
Until it's not. Until we don't have the biggest economy in the world, until we have so many unskilled workers that until
coming soon,
until there's no more cake to feed the people, right? That's what the French Revolution. She said, feed them cake. Well, they took a head off because of that. So
35 trillion in debt to income ratio, 125%.
The bread and circus works. You know why the bread and circus worked? Question.
Why?
Because they had bread and circus. No, Rome gave citizens free bread and they provided them with a free circus. So we don't even have free. You're not getting free food unless you get a welfare voucher. But I was like, and even entertainment at this point is not even free. You got to have a television to even watch it. So it's like the bread and circus works as long as you could provide free circus and a free bread. When you got a
bread inflation is crazy.
Your bread inflation steps up, and your circus is not free anymore.
Shout out to Wick, man.
Then that theory goes out the window. So you got to take care of your citizens. You can have citizens on the ground and not pay attention to anything as long as you're taking care of them. That's my point. But when you're not able to take care of them, then it's not going to work anymore.
It's not good.
And when you got 600,000 people that sleeping on the street,
San Francisco as a city fell apart.
Los Angeles,
LA.
downtown LA, San Francisco.
Insane.
You know what? And I shouldn't say surprised my first time in Dallas, but there's an issue going on down there.
Homeless is running rampant in every
first time.
Honolulu.
Yeah,
I remember I was in Honolulu. Honolulu is one of the major homeless capitals of the world. Miami, Florida.
Miami's tough, boy.
This is the have and have nots. We live in a society where it's quickly becoming either you have tremendous amount of money or you have no money at all.
Yep. I told you a couple years ago when I was talking to Kyrie, shout out to him, we love you dearly. When he was like, I'm worried about my legacy, I'm like, oh, look, I said, you like 37? How you worried? I got worried.
Yeah.
I said, wait, if you worried, I need to speed it up. Shot the gunner. What? Okay. Okay. Damn. So I'm like, hey.
Gonna wanna eggshells, man. You heard Ross.
Yeah.
And just to be clear, even the information that we teach is high skilled information, right? So it's like if you learn in real estate, that puts you 90% higher than most people. If you learn it, just watching that video that X did, that puts you 90% higher than the average person. So it's like I can't sugarcoat this. If you're uneducated, you don't have to go to school to be educated. But if you are uneducated and you don't have skills, it's a 98% chance you're not going to make it. You're not going to make it. So that's a fact.
No, you said 98?
I mean, you can always just figure like luck up. So I'm saying you can hit the lottery. There's a 90.
I'm giving this point. Those two, that is like they call that the death cross on the chart. Like if you're uneducated and unskilled.
Like if you have a child born today, what you should be teaching your child is tech and basketball.
Yep.
These dudes about to get $1 billion contracts.
Baseball, they getting it too.
How many black
but basketball?
That's what I'm saying. We're not doing it. Not teaching them.
They're not getting $1 billion contracts.
They got guaranteed money
a year.
The Major League Baseball is going to have $1 billion contract before the NBA.
Basketball is going different. This new CBA.
This dude just got $700 million. Like, what are we talking about?
You heard what Mark Cuban said.
I heard what he said.
He said the players are about to start making more money than the owners.
And did he add context to that? There's context that needs to be put around that.
Top players.
Okay.
Yeah,
and
of course.
He already got
Luka's getting an $800 million contract.
All right. Shohei Ohtani just got $700 million last year. Like, that's happening. Juan Soto's up this spring or this fall.
Yeah.
He's crossing 600. Like, that's happening today.
How many black people playing baseball?
Well, you just said just teach them basketball.
Shit is like watching paint.
No, it's not. Shout
out to the Yankees.
Don't do that. Shout out to my Yankees. They're playing right now. We're in the playoffs right now.
Let's just be honest. Baseball is probably arguably the most boring sport.
That is a subjective
not
opinion.
In person.
That's a
TV,
subjective opinion. That's a subjective opinion. And those thoughts are just for you. I'm a diehard Yankee fan. Let's go Yanks. We need this World Series number 28. Let's do it.
And we'll talk about on Black.
And we got you said Aaron Judge, black man, best player in baseball.
I'm saying how many?
Because we need more people. Shout
7%. Shout out to my Dominicans, D-Malo. They the ones that's running baseball.
Yeah. Shout out to Mookie Betts. Shout out to Mookie Betts, another black man that is an amazing. Shout out to Donovan Mitchell, who works with the Mets franchise. They in the playoffs. Yo, come on, man.
Yeah, man.
We need more of you out there. You know what? You can't just go play baseball by yourself.
Yeah,
you actually need somebody to pitch to you. You need somebody to you need some. Is that a pause?
Teacher.
Yeah, I was about to say.
Teacher. Is it? Nah, you need somebody.
I'm not from New York, so I know. But to my ears,
it was like flavor. Nah,
teach your kids tech,
athletics, man. Teach them athletics.
Teach them tech, how to trade, and how to dribble a basketball.
Facts.
One of the three.
Or soccer.
All you need is one of the
standing there with the double tennis balls that they do. I said,
the last two athletes.
Jesus Shuttlesworth.
The last two athletes that crossed the $1 billion mark came from what sport?
Basketball.
Soccer.
LeBron James.
I said the last two.
Philly.
The last two.
Who was the last two?
Who's the last two?
Messi just crossed.
Oh yeah.
Like, come on, soccer is there. When out they cross.
How many Americans?
And Mbappe gonna cross too.
How many?
Yeah,
he's an American black person.
But we're not teaching them. That's what I said. We have to teach them. Like, it's not just that.
Not there.
Yeah, we're not there.
Coach is not there.
Yeah.
It's tough. Have nots.
Dribble and jump shot. They making more than hedge funds. That's a fact. These basketball players are more than hedge fund managers. Like,
how many?
Even there are some scrubs right now on some teams. I won't say who making 17. I'm like, you average 4 points a fucking game. 17.
They have to the team. That's the crazy. The team has suspended. They have to
great locker room play. Like what?
Morale.
There's more,
and them dudes are skilled. We can't. I'm not going. Even to do the scoring game, you still skilled.
Oh yeah, they'll drop 87 in LA Fitness. It's not play.
Shout out to Kyle who put up 30 and 20 in the 10-year-old league.
We talked about this on Blackout. This is why when you start to see people, Ian said this, when you start to see you're going to have an opportunity to make more money in a hedge fund. Now you start to see this sports academies. The people are investing in their children
in them
to play sports.
Yeah,
because this is an opportunity to become a billionaire.
Yeah. I'm just saying. Oh, I'm not just limited to one sport. And even though it's probably my favorite sport.
Football, you cook.
I'm not. I wouldn't recommend.
Yeah, and your brain
never.
Come on, we're not.
Flag football. I want to see and say, wrap it up.
The sport, obviously, the most popular sport in America, but I mean, the contracts aren't guaranteed.
And your brain is going to be fried.
Well,
there's a lot.
You can get out without it being fried. All right. Shout out to Megatron who left early, doing well in investing. This guy will do it. Andrew Luck left. Well, he left. I mean, there's guys who do it, and we don't know the long-term effects, right? Like CTE. I just saw players say, I don't even believe in that. I'm like, well, that's a real thing.
That's because they got it.
Right. Like, exactly. You know what I'm saying? It's definitely a real thing. But
ask Antonio Brown about
don't do that.
CTE.
Don't do that. That's all I got.
He was just out here too.
Shout out to him, man. And Steelers, can y'all retire his jersey, please? Stop playing. Did he officially retire yet?
They're not going to retire.
They have to retire.
There's a 0% chance that they retire.
We're going to put this on a money line right now. And this is documented. Antonio Brown getting his number 84 retired. And
what time frame?
It just has to happen. It will happen. If you look at all the records he's broke, 10 years of a receiver, there's nobody that's done the numbers he's done. 1,000-yard seasons, 100 plus catches in a season.
It's not about his resume.
No, that is what is it about then?
All right, let's see if they do it.
He didn't flip out till he did the when he went to Tampa.
Let's see if they do it.
When he ran off the field.
Let's see if they do it.
He's getting retired.
Let's see if he do it.
Are you saying no?
I mean, the way he talked about Ben Roethlisberger, the way he talked about Mike Tomlinson, the way he talked about the organization.
Worst guys have been retired.
All right.
You say 0% chance?
He's black.
Well, of course. But you say 0% chance? Mike Tomlin's black.
Exactly.
Ian, you saying what?
Don't go against power.
I like AB. It will probably happen after he passes.
After he passes?
I don't think it's going to happen while he lives.
You think he's going to the Hall of Fame?
Yeah. Like if we're going off stats alone, now when we factor in,
what are we going
if Brady makes that phone call, I don't know.
He a champion. I mean, the resume shows it.
He went crazy. I say you got to leave Tomas alone. Listen,
until Brady makes the phone.
Mike, what are you talking about?
Well, make that call
until Brady makes the phone.
Nah, AB is yes. I think his career never changed after that hit versus Cincinnati where it was horrific and we saw a concussion happen. That moment changed everything for his career. But up until that, I mean, the numbers are the numbers. We can't run from them.
Yeah, it was phenomenal on the field.
All right, well, been real. Okay, blackout on Wednesday. Thursday.
Chris Brinkley got a shoe. Not to cut you off.
Shoe? Yeah, I think he had a shoe with Puma. I think.
Shout out them. Somebody else just signed with Puma.
That's crazy.
What's his name? Halliburton. Just signed with them.
See, Adam, if you play nice with the blacks, you see what you can do if you play well.
Nice with the blacks.
Oh, how you ruin your whiteness? Boy, Chris would have got a shoe with Puma. Oh, Adam. Oh,
Chris, he really turned up, man. His training sessions really. That's legendary what he did.
Yeah, I'm smart.
Now let's see if he said Ben Simmons is gonna have a crazy year, so let's see if that works. Let's see.
I'll do the money line on that one.
He's gonna have a good season?
Define good.
They said in the past 20 years they did the stat that he's made more money per minute than anybody in the NBA.
Because he doesn't play.
Shout to him.
Exactly.
Fucking agent. I ain't mad.
His contract is Rich Paul was his agent, but no longer doesn't represent him anymore. But yeah, he did get him those contracts.
All right.
Shout out to Brooklyn. Shout out to the Big Bodega.
The mental health card too after the injury. Oh my God.
The Big Bodega is the new name for Karl Anthony Towns. so I'm not a Knicks fan.
Big
But it's New York.
bodega. Let's give him flop.
Let's see how he does, man. Let's see how he does.
Jalen Brunson finna cuss you out every practice, bro.
At least.
That's a legend.
All right. Thursday.
Who the coach over there?
Thibodeau.
Thibodeau finna cuss you clean the fuck out. Oh,
he got him in Minnesota too. So I mean, it's familiar. He knows how to go.
Was cussing him out then.
Carl Anthony Towns.
Shout the cat. I don't want no smoke.
Shout out to all the Dominicans out there. Uptown. Thursday, 9:00.
Yeah.
How to save money on taxes. It's been real. At UI University, we got a class with millennial.
Melanin money.
Yes.
Okay, that's fine. Yeah.
Nah, I don't get. Listen, man. Like I told them in person, I'll say it here. Just two dudes that really understand the game. They understand their business, CPA and taxing planning. They're incredible young men, man. So shout out to them. And yeah, they'll be teaching this Thursday. Dope fellas. Yeah.
Sure. All right, it's been real.
All right, y'all. Be good to each other. Love is love. And don't
Who
take
decides war? It's a great question.
Open-ended
We'll
question.
talk about it on Wednesday.
Who decides war, man? Love.
Peace.